All right, hey team. Let me adjust my sound here, get everything into place, and then we're going to do some game design tonight. We're converting Dungeons and Dragons into the Magic the Gathering system of color magic. So give me a second here to adjust my screens and get everything in place properly. Hey guys, how you doing? My name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games, I illustrate them, and I publish them online, and I create content for Dungeons and Dragons, and I publish it on the DMsGuild. I started back in 2018 with the Color Mana Spell Point variant rule system that we published for 5e24. And since then, we've been using that system in our campaigns. I've ran two 20-level campaigns and a number of smaller campaigns, like from level 3 to 15, using that system. We're going to do some game design today. All the stuff that we're going to be using is linked for you guys here down below. We're going to be converting the most recent Unearthed Arcana for D&D here. The Martial Powers and Color Mana playtest document that we're utilizing is it's located. If you click this link here, it will take you to this document. Here, I'll show you. This document here, which has all of the 5e24 conversions currently working through process for all the full casters, all the half casters, including the Artificer. We have the Scion, Unearthed Arcana mechanics inside here for the Color Mana system as well. And it has all of the martial characters and half casters using the martial power system, which is the same mana supply that casters use to cast spells. Martials and half casters can also channel that mana through martial powers, which is similar to how martials operated in the Book of Nine Swords in 3rd edition, or all of martial characters in 4e. So, except instead of having a specified number of acts, like you can do this every round, you can do this once per turn, you can do this once per encounter, you can do this once per day. Instead, they have mana costs. Just like with a normal spell point pool that you would have for casters, when you cast points, when you cast spells, you expend points. When you run out of points, you can't cast spells anymore. Similar to that in the martial power system. Martial characters can perform maneuvers, exploits, magical reactions, and like smite, like Paladin smite type powers. But when you run out of mana, you can't use any more until you take a rest. So let's see. So this is where the document's at, and we're going to be working specifically in the Paladin today. We're going to first review the scaffold and the structure of how the Paladin changes as a result of using the Color Mana system that we're implementing for the martial powers. And then after that, we have all the subclasses, both those that are in the Player's Handbook 24 and all the Forsaken subclasses that have yet to graduate into other books. Except for, like, say, the Bannerets now in the Adventures, the Sword Coast Adventures, or whatever Faerun book. So we'll probably publish those separately. But the core subclasses in the Player's Handbook and all of the classes in the Player Handbook are included inside this document, including the Artificer and the Scion, like I said, and all of the subclasses, all updated for using the mana system in the 5e24 game rules. There's a number of changes that get implemented as a result of using Color Mana and the martial power system as well. So I make the whole thing available for people for free to read online, both in this rough format, and once we actually get the final language locked down with an editor, when we publish it on the DMsGuild, it'll be 100% free preview as well. That document is located, the Color Mana system is here. These are all the books that I've published so far that converts D&D into the Magic the Gathering Color Mana paradigm. This is the most recent book, the revised Color Mana Spell Point variant rules. Originally, when we published the books, we set it up so that each spell is devoted to only one color. Like Counterspell is blue, that's it. That makes a lot of sense. Fireball is red, and that's it. That makes sense. But like, what about Magic Missile? What color is that supposed to be? Well, from what we can assess, like that, for example, would be either white, blue, or black. Those are generally the colors of force effects, I believe. Let's go down here and look at our array here. This is the revised color mana spell list that explains what the 5 colors are things in D&D that are related to or kind of reflect the values and energy of each color. And then we have the damage matrix, force damage, white, blue. Oh, there it is, white, blue, and red. Those are the 3 force damage colors. So like a magic missile deals force damage. It's like it only costs 1 mana to cast magic missile. So when you cast magic missile, you would expend 1 point of mana from your mana pool. There you go. Ninth level spell costs 9 points of mana. There you go. And if you're using a narrative color paradigm, then you don't have to worry about other than, hey, I'm playing, like you'll have a color identity. Like I'm playing a Boros character. So I'm going to have white and red magic. So when I throw a magic missile, I could depict it as a white spell, a red spell, or since I'm Boros and I have access to both of them, I could express it as like a white-red spell. If I'm using a strict magic system, then each point of mana that I have in my mana pool, whenever I finish a rest, a short rest or a long rest, or gain more mana, I choose what color that mana is going to be devoted to. So if I have 3 points of mana, 1 is white, 1 is blue, and 1 is red, and I cast a magic missile spell, I now have to use either a point of white or a point of red. Let's say I use red. Well, now I only have 2 points left, which are white and blue. And since I don't have any red mana in my mana pool, I can't cast any red spells until I take a rest and say, get more red in my mana pool. Like if I had, I wouldn't be a very Boros character if I had blue in my mana. That would be, what is that? Is that Jeskai? I'm shaky on my wedges and shards, so I forget some of the names. But in this example, if we wanted to cast more red spells when we only had a point of white and blue, I might take a short rest and convert that blue point into red, so now I can cast another red spell. Whenever I take a long rest and get all my mana back, I can change all that mana around to whatever colors I want. So if I have a wizard character with a thick book of spells, I might first choose what spells do I want to prepare for the day, and then decide what colors I'm going to have my mana pool broken into. But if I'm like a sorcerer or a warlock or a bard that doesn't change all my spells every day, I would perhaps instead prefer to lean into my color identity, like my sorcerer being a Boros white-red mana. And then I'm going to select spells from my sorcerer list that fits into white or red, that have a color identity of white or red. So like, for example, for flavor, I could choose Shillelagh well, that's probably not a good example. What's a good example? Like, since cantrips don't cost any mana, I could pick up Produce Flame as a Boros sorcerer if I wanted to, because it's themed red, and that jives with my Boros character being white and red magic. But if I wanted to, I could take, like, say, Prestidigitation, which is technically blue, but since it doesn't cost any mana, I could just resculpt that spell to be any color that I want. So I could have Prestidigitation as a white spell or a red spell, and when I use the magics of that spell, it will have a white or red flavor to it, or visual components to it, based on how you decide to narrate your character. At higher levels, obviously, we just talked about, like, for example, Burning Hands is a red spell. So if I had 1 point of red mana, I could cast Burning Hands, and I need to have more red mana in my pool to cast it again. But let's say I'm playing Boros, which is only white and red magic, and I wanted to pick up Color Spray, which is a blue spell. I could either, if I'm a character that has access to blue color, and technically a Boros character could cast Color Spray and just spend a point of mana and just say, hey, I cast it as a white or red, because magic is just descriptive. And we can use any color spell that we want. Or I can only use spells that are devoted to the color that I want. Or again, not only does the spell have to be the color that I want, but I have to have enough mana of the right color. I have to have that color in my mana pool to cast it. So, or I have to expend that color mana from my pool to cast it, is the way that you would express that. But if I wanted to instead, I could spend downtime and research the spell, so that for me, Color Spray is now a white spell. And now whenever I have white mana, I could cast it. Or if I wanted it immediately and didn't want to research it, when I can change a spell, when I can prepare a new spell, or like when I'm gaining levels or whatever, when I'm swapping spells around, when I swap a spell or when I prepare a spell, I can prepare the spell twice. once as it's naturally devoted to blue, and then I can prepare it a second time to change the color from blue to, say, white or red. So that's the mana system in a nutshell. That's basically how the color mana system works. And because it leans into this idea of a 1-to-1 spell point ratio for spell casting, that color identity is basically the alignment and can express the personality of your characters. And so we have a number of features in each of the character classes that are changed to reflect how color mana, being the core of your class's resources, change what your class features are. So, like, for example, let's just first look at the scaffold here. So a Paladin, Ranger, Artificer, and all of the martial classes, which include the Barbarian, the Fighter, the Monk, and the Rogue. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, plus the Artificer is 7, and Warlocks can use martial powers instead of spellcasting. They can use them both. The Paladin, the Ranger, the Artificer, and the Warlock, they can all choose spells like normal, or they can choose a power of an equal or lower rank to the maximum level. So a Paladin and a Ranger, like at 5th level, get access to second level spells, and also get access to second rank powers. Fighters, Paladins, Monks, they all get access to second rank powers at level 5, but they don't get access to any spell casting at all. And a Warlock, I won't scroll down to it, but a Warlock has full casting progression. So by level 5, a Warlock has access to 3rd level spells, but uses the half casting progression to attain powers. So I have a new slot. Available for me to prepare a Warlock spell at 5th level. I could choose a 3rd level spell if I wanted to, or I could choose a second rank power if I wanted to. And the mana supply for the Artificer, the Monk, the Artificer, Warlock, Paladin, and Ranger, those half casting or those casting classes uses the same mana pool the same way as they for spells as they do for powers. And Fighters, Monks, Rangers, Rogues, they use they have the half casting progression for the powers that they attain. Level 1, 5, 9, 13. They gain levels. They gain higher ranks of power. Full casters don't get any ranks of power. Martial characters don't get any levels of spell casting. The half casters, the hybrid classes, get, for every level, they get half a level of spell casting, and they get a full level of channeling powers. So that's the basic idea of it. All of these channelers use a short rest mana supply so that you can't burst Nova too hard, too long. You gain on a short rest or long rest, you get all your mana back. You get 1 point of mana per level, 1 through 20, just like the Monk does currently. In addition to that, we also have generating temporary mana by expending action economy. When we sacrifice an attack during the attack action, we can generate a point of mana, which could be any color that we want, to channel powers. But Paladins, Artificers, and Rangers can also channel spells that are on their spell list. A Ranger can use temporary mana to channel powers or to cast Ranger spells specifically, but you can only do it during combat. So you have to sacrifice your action economy in your attacks to generate free mana to, in the case of the Ranger, would have to use a bonus action to cast a spell, which might not be too readily available. Bonus action, when you sacrifice your bonus action, depending on what level of a channeler you are, is the amount of mana that you generate. 1 at 1st, 2 at 9th, 3 at 17th. You can sacrifice your reaction at any time to generate a point of mana. Rogues can also sacrifice their movement and stand still, and instead of any movement during their turn, they can sacrifice their movement and gain a point of mana as well. So fun options there for the subclasses, and all of the classes have different ways of being able to generate mana for themselves. But max rank that we have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There you go, 1 through 17, just like a normal half-caster. The number of powers that you can prepare, it ends up being 15 at 20th level, which paces the same as spellcasting. Actually, you know what? No, yeah, I'm good with that. Yeah, so we get 4 prepared powers. We don't get any weapon masteries, and we don't get any free fighting styles. Instead, we get 4 prepared powers at first level. Normally, a paladin will only have 2, I believe 2 at first level, but we gave you 4 to compensate for the fighting style and a weapon mastery. Weapon masteries can be prepared with your weapons. We talked about that last session. And then the amount of mana. So you could... I recommend keeping that point of mana. If you're going to use your point of mana, I recommend keeping it for out of combat, because during combat you can sacrifice your bonus action or your reaction, or by 5th level and above, and one of your attack actions to generate additional mana during your turn that stays until the beginning of your next turn. So you can save your small mana pool for outside of combat and just rely on sacrificing action economy and other class features and tricks to generate additional mana for your character. Use that bonus free mana instead of your actual mana pool, so you can use your mana pool for social and exploration challenges. So we're going to go through some of the features that were in the Paladin are gone. Some have been modified, and some of them stay the same. So we're going to go through the class features of the Paladin, and then we're going to go look at the Unearthed Arcana. They've provided us the Oathbreaker. So we're going to look at how the Paladin Oathbreaker is built, and we're going to modify it to comply with the mechanics of the color mana system. So that's the game that we're playing tonight, and then we'll pick it up again, and we'll do something different on Saturday. So if anyone that's catching the channel, if you think this stuff is cool, like and subscribe and hit the bell icon to stick around for the ride. And when I do artwork Monday through Fridays in the morning as well. So we're going to set this aside for the moment. We're going to drop down here into the actual list of martial powers so that we can take a look at those when they come up. But for now, let's just go through the class features of the Paladin just to see how it's changed. So starting at first level, you can you gain a channeling class feature. Strength, wisdom, or charisma is your channeling ability score, your choice. Your channeling DC is 8 plus your proficiency bonus plus your ability modifier. Beginning at first level, you also learn 4 first rank powers from the martial powers list. You also learn 4 powers from the martial powers list. You gain additional powers as you gain levels up to your maximum channeling rank as listed in the martial powers progression table above. You can swap 1 prepared power for another when you finish a long rest, and you can swap all prepared powers when you gain a level. Fighting styles and weapon masteries can be prepared as meta powers, but not automatically gained as class features. So you gain then mana. So you gain a pool of mana. The pool of mana points. The pool of martial points called mana. The amount of mana is equal to your class level. You regain all mana when you finish a short or long rest. When you channel a power, you can expend an amount of mana up to your maximum channel limit. Spellcasting with power. Starting at first level, you can choose to learn spells on the Paladin spell list instead of powers. The number of mana expended to cast a spell is equal to the level of the spell cast. In combat, when you sacrifice action economy, when you expend... I can hear myself. I'm going to have to turn down the... turn this down. And anyone that's sticking around, if you don't mind, like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for notifications when we're live in the future. I'd love to have you around. And you're welcome to join my Discord channel, ask questions, and play test this stuff with us if you want. Where was it? There it is. In combat, when you expend action economy to generate temporary mana, you can expend it to cast a spell on your Paladin spell list with a duration of instant or concentration. That way you're not using time in combat to generate effects that are going to last, like, say, all day outside of combat. Each rank of power you sustain reduces the maximum amount, the maximum spell level you can maintain concentration on at the same time. For example, if a 9th level Paladin is sustaining 2 ranks of Paladin, which is like a concentration buffing effect that doesn't require concentration. So, for example, if a 9th level Paladin is sustaining 2 ranks of power, you can only concentrate on a level 1 spell. And vice versa. If I'm concentrating on a 2nd level spell, I could then only turn on 1 rank worth of sustained powers. You're not limited to casting 1 spell with mana per round. For example, if you cast a level 3 spell that uses the magic action and a level 2 spell that uses a bonus action during your turn, as long as you have at least 5 mana. Then using martial powers or replaces the Paladin's smite spells as described above. Remove those spells from the Paladin's list. So there's like maybe 15 spells in the game that aren't a magic action, that are either a reaction or a bonus action. And virtually all of the spells that are that are bonus actions are either defense of some sort, like a teleport spell to get distance from enemies, or like a damage reduction spell effect, or deals damage as a kicker effect, like the Paladin spells are now a bonus action that you cast when you hit with a weapon attack. All of the ranger strike spell effects like lightning arrow and entangling strike and shit like that. All that stuff requires a bonus action to cast when you make an attack with your weapon or whatever. So if you get rid of all of those, there's only like maybe 4 spells that like full casters get access to in the game that are bonus actions. The only reason why you don't have a bonus action and a magic action cast in the same turn is because of sorcerer. So instead of just allowing us to use magic action and bonus action to cast the same spell, to cast spells in the same during my own turn, they got rid of that for the convenience of the sorcerer. So they could have instead say, yeah, you can cast a magic spell and a bonus action spell in your same turn if you want to. But if you use the meta magic feat of a sorcerer to reduce the magic down to a bonus action, you can't. That's the only spell. That's the only spell that you can cast during your turn. You can still cast a cantrip if you wanted to, but you've taken a magic action spell and made it a bonus action. You've already expended your magic action spell for the turn, and you've expended your bonus action for the turn. So you can't use you can't cast another magic action spell because you've already done your magic action spell for the round. You just use the bonus action instead, but you could still use a cantrip instead. So you can impose that limitation onto the sorcerer alone as a caveat to using Quicken spell meta magic. Because 5e24 allows people to cast bonus action spells after casting a normal spell all the time. It's just you can't expend a spell slot to use it. So if you have a stack of free spells that you can cast or a racial spell that you get as a feat, those don't require you to spend a spell slot to use. So they're free to use. So to simplify the system and to not give people a bunch of free spells when mana is so efficient of a resource for people to use to cast spells, instead of giving you a bunch of free spells and keeping the limitations of magic action versus bonus action in a turn, we allow you to cast both a magic action and a bonus action in your turn and not give you any free spells, but potentially give you additional mana. Like if you take the magic initiate feat, you gain a spell, a first level spell and 2 cantrips. And in addition to that, instead of giving you a free casting of that spell and adding it to your spell list if you have one, now it's you gain a point of mana of the color appropriate for that spell that you can then add to your mana pool, and the spell you can use to cast. Because if you have mana for the spell, you can cast it. It doesn't matter if it's on your list or like what list it's on or not. If you have access to it, you can cast it as long as you have the mana to do so. So we flipped the point of contention in that relationship and simplified. See, 5e24 is so awesome because so many casters get free spells that removing the free spells and just adding those spells to your prepared list and then just using your mana supply actually balances out pretty nicely compared to the flexibility of the mana pool versus getting a bunch of free themed spells that you can then focus your spell casting slots on for your other non-character, like your non-special spells. Anyway, if that makes sense. Hopefully it does. So those are the rules that there. And then, of course, using martial powers replaces the paladin spells. You don't use the paladin smite spells because the martial power strikes are just better. When you hit with an attack, it's just like in 2014. When I hit you with an attack, I can channel a strike power. And all martials can do this. Anyone that has access to powers can do this. But instead of having just like a generic Divine Smite feature and then a bunch of Paladin spells like they did in 5e24. The problem with 5e14 was that when you use your Divine Smite ability, your feature, it wasn't casting a spell. So you could cast a spell, you could cast a smite spell and hold that in concentration with your bonus action, and then when you hit with a weapon attack, you could deal the smite with your Divine Smite and drop your concentration and channel the Paladin Smite spell on top of, so you're double dipping, and then if you crit, you're quadrupling the mana dip that you're putting into your class. And that was the problem with the Nova Paladin. The solution in 2024 was to make Divine Smite and all the Paladin Smite spells require a bonus action. So you can only do it once, and it eats your bonus action, but you don't use the bonus action until you hit. So when you hit with an attack, you then expend your bonus action to cast any of those spells, and you get the Divine Smite spell for free. That solved the problem, but it wasn't the best solution. The best solution, I believe, was to make all of the spells that trigger on hit don't expend a bonus action at all to use them, but make each of them their own separate strike power. So like if I want to hit with a Flaming Strike, I could expend a point of mana to deal fire damage. I'll roll a power die worth of extra damage to the attack roll, and now the target's on fire. And they'll take burning damage each turn until they either make a saving throw or they stop, drop, and roll. Like that's one of 26 different strike powers that we have. And all the Paladin Smite spells have been converted into this list, as well as a bunch of the Ranger spell shots that are replaced as well, and like Eldritch Smite and stuff like that. Basically, we pooled all the different type of smite and strike spells in the game and dipped into some from 3rd edition to generate a list of 26 different strike options that you can pick up over the course of your character and again at higher and higher levels, expending more and more mana as you go up in rank, dealing more dice of damage, and having greater and more fantastical effects. Like Banishing Strike is 4th rank, so it requires 4 mana to channel it when you hit with an attack. It deals force damage, and it deals 4 dice of damage in addition to your normal weapon attack, and the creature is banished and incapacitated for a minute. And then they have to make a saving throw to come back. There you go. So yeah, that's roughly how that works. So we're gonna keep walking through the process here and looking at more stuff as we have a modified version of Paladin Smite. But yeah, converting strikes to on-hit effects, so you don't have to constantly waste your bonus action to cast a smite spell. You can use your bonus action for other cool stuff that a paladin can do, like channel your divinity at the same time as you're channeling a strike power, for instance, is a fun thing you can do. And you can never do that, with the must cast bonus action spell to smite now. It's just, if everything is a on hit effect, you can't stack effects. You can still crit if you hit and double the damage, but you can't quadruple the damage by double dipping the spell casting. You just can't do it. Which is why we have to remove the Paladin Smite spells from the game, because those are bonus action spells. If we have this normal strike power and leave the Smite spells in effect as bonus actions to cast when you hit with a spell, we're going back to double dipping. So we have to get rid of that. We have to get rid of that parallel. Though, if full casters get like Branding Smite or something like that onto their spells, they can keep it because they don't get access to channeling. Anyway, Let's see. Okay, so lay on hands. You can channel divine power that rejuvenates. You'll recognize a lot of this from the player's handbook. You can channel divine power that rejuvenates yourselves and allies. You gain a pool of hit points equal to 5 times your paladin level, which is recovered when you finish a long rest. As a bonus action, you can touch a creature, including yourself, and spend any number of points that remain in the pool to restore that many hit points. You can purge poison, which is you can expend 5 hit points in the pool to remove the poison condition. Doing so does not also restore hit points. And you can restore mana. So you can expend hit points to restore mana. For every 5 hit points expended this way, the target recovers 1 point of mana. Doing so does not also restore hit points. So if you don't need to use your hit points for lay on hands, you can use it to recover your mana pool instead. So the paladin is now it's true. All the marshals, everyone that can channel powers can now do basically divine smites like a paladin can. Just I hit, I spend mana, I deal extra damage and do an effect. That takes away a lot of the paladin's identity in 5e game. So having them be able to lay on hands to heal people of mana, there's very, very few things in this game that allow you to do that, including this system that we've developed. There's like, I think, 2 other classes that can do that. The wild magic barbarian can do that, and I think one of the bards can do that too. No, the artificers. The artificer, they have a device that's a mana battery that if you allow somebody else to use it, they can get mana back. So it's the barbarian, wild mage, the artificer's core mana storage option, and then this lay on hands paladin. There's only 3 ways in the game with this mana system for anyone to like heal mana outside of like a mock stone or a mana pot. So hey, what's going on, Dr. Puffles? Right on, man. The lay on hands. I'm glad you like it. Yeah, this whole document, it's read only for you right now. It'll eventually publish on the DMsGuild, and the link to it is this is the document that I'm using in Google Docs. Again, it's read only, but we've updated all the classes to reflect this stuff. So I'm just going through the features of the Paladin, and then we'll look at the Unearthed Arcana update for the Oathbreaker to see how that works. So I'm just kicking through the features so you guys can grok how the thing works, so you'll understand the changes that we'll make to the subclasses to utilize this mana system. Paladin Smite. So speaking of which, when you channel a strike power... Okay, so we talked about... Hold on. When you channel a strike power with a melee weapon attack, so we kept the Paladin Smite as a melee effect. So when you channel a strike power with I'll add in strike power with a melee weapon attack, if you expend your bonus action to generate temporary mana, you can choose to deal radiant damage, and the maximum channel limit for the Paladin Smite increases by the amount of mana gained by your bonus action, as listed on the Smite mana table below. I do not have a mana table below. Furthermore, when you use Paladin Smite to channel a strike that deals damage to a fiend or undead, you deal an additional power die of damage. So power dice, not paradise, power dice. Power dice, you gain. It's like a Bardic Inspiration die / martial arts die / superiority die / psionic die. They all kind of do the same thing, in that when I'm channeling a power that modifies a die roll, either by like adding damage to a damage roll or adding to the result of a d20 test. This is the type of die roll. This is the type of die that we roll depending on our level. At first level, it's a d6. It becomes a d8 at 9th level. It becomes a d10 at 17th level. The monk, of course, gets to use his martial arts die instead of the power die. So for a monk, it would be d6 and then d8 and then d10, and then at 17 it's a d12 instead. The battle master uses, when you take the battle master class, instead of a d6 at 3rd level, you now roll a d8 and now a d10 and then a d12. So all the classes use these D4. And if like for instance, if a sorcerer were to take the power initiate feat and get access to a first rank power, that with your 100 mana at 20th level, you can spend 1 mana at a time to spam out whatever that first level power is. For a full caster that can't channel powers, they use a D4. And also, when you are using a strike power with a ranged attack like a bow or a crossbow or a pistol, you can channel strikes through those, but you'll use a power dice smaller than your normal. So a first level character that channels a strike power through a crossbow shot would be adding a D4 instead of a D6. And the ranger ignores that using their natural dice, so they're automatically better. So when the paladin has a mark of prey on, you automatically generate a point of mana every time you hit that target, so you can channel strikes for free, dealing the extra D6 or D8 or however much damage you deal. That's how the ranger works. And we visited ranger a couple weeks ago, so you can check in my playlist for the martial powers development and see wherever it says ranger and dive down that rabbit hole if you want. But I'm going to build this table here. We're going to go with level, and then we're going to go with max limit, and then we have bonus mana. So then we have Paladin Smite, and then we have a Smite, and then we have Verse Undead. So we stack like this. Level 1, we'll start at level 2, 5, and once I put this table down, it will looking at the table will explain what the table means. So we know our max limit is 1 at first level, it's still level 1 at 2. Second rank is 2 mana at 5, third, fourth, and then fifth at 17th. There's just half casting progression. The amount of bonus mana, and again, going back to the temporary mana that we can generate, sacrificing action economy allows us, going down to it, where is it? Disciplines, temporary mana. There we go. Empowered again. Looking at the empowered actions, we can, if we sacrifice our bonus action, depending on our rank, that's the amount of mana we generate during that turn. Temporary mana goes away at the beginning of our next turn, and when we clear our deck, the temporary mana goes away. But until then, I can expend as much action economy as I want to generate as much mana as I can to use any way that I want until the beginning of my next turn. If I sacrifice my bonus action, I get 1, 2, or by 17th level 3 mana. If I sacrifice my reaction, I get a point of mana. If I sacrifice, each attack that I sacrifice during the attack action also generates a point of mana. So, what's up? Yeah, mana generation is fun. So at first level, by second level, we can generate 1 point with bonus action. At 5th level, it's still 1 point. At 9th level, it's 2 points, and at 17th level, it's 3 points. So that means the maximum amount that we can, normally our maximum limit at level 2 is only 1 mana, like a first level spell, first rank powers. I can't channel more than 1 mana at a time unless I use Paladin Smite. So I use a strike power. I can use the temporary mana that I generate to feed the smite, the strike power if I wanted to. I could then spend an additional point of mana, either by sacrificing, like at 5th level, I could sacrifice an attack to generate 1 point of mana, and then I could sacrifice my bonus action to generate a 2nd point of mana for me to have a total of, in this instance, it would be 2 points of mana, and then I could sacrifice like 1 point of my 5 from my mana pool for a total of 3 mana. So I'd do an extra, at 5th level, an extra 3d6 damage. Unless it was undead or a fiend, then it would be 4d6. My 9th level, it can spike up to 5 dice, 6 dice at 13, 8 dice at 10 at 17th level. Hey, here's a fun factoid. What's the best solution to dealing the most smite damage possible in normal D&D? The answer is to be Paladin 2, Sorcerer 17, or Paladin 3, Sorcerer 17, because I gain access to Divine Smite as a first level spell that adds an additional D8 damage for every spell level that I increase it. No cap. So if I'm a 17th level Paladin, I can at best put 5 mana or 5 spell levels into ramping up that smite, dealing an extra 5 dice of damage. But a Sorcerer Paladin in normal 5e rules can put a 9th level spell slot. So the best smiting Paladin in the game is actually a 17th level Sorcerer or Cleric or whatever class you want to use, because it doesn't limit you by Paladin levels. So the smites, the strike system that we use, full casters don't get access to strikes at all. And even if they did, the amount of mana that you can put into a strike power is equal to the maximum level of power that you can channel. So a first through fourth level fighter, paladin, ranger, whatever, can only channel first rank powers. So if I went paladin 3, sorcerer 17, yeah, I've got the ability to cast 9th level spells, but I'm limited to only using 1 mana at a time because my paladin's level is less than 5. So that means I'm throttled to only doing 1 point of mana at a time. Except if I expend my bonus action with it, I could put in 2 points at 2nd level. So that kills off the sorcerer. But interesting, worth noting, the sorcerer would do, with a 9th level spell slot, you would deal D8 plus a number of D8 equal to the spell slot. So you would actually deal, as a paladin 3, sorcerer 17, you would deal 10 D8 damage as a result of your 9th level spell slot. The way that the paladin works is, by the time you get to 17th level and you can channel 5th rank powers, you can put 5 mana into it, and if you expend your bonus action as part of it, you could channel up to 8 mana. And we already know that a paladin at 17th level rolls a d10. So, in fact, we have a way that the paladin, a 17th level paladin, is the best at smiting in the game now. And the sorcerer sucks at it. A 17th level sorcerer could do it like 95 times a day because that's how much mana you would have. But the paladin would be able to could do this 4 times, because that's when I'd run out of mana, plus I get the free mana for my bonus action. So 8 or 9d10 as using my bonus action with a strike power is 8d10 versus the sorcerer's 10d8. So we still have the same cap on how much damage you can do in a smite, staying inside the expectations of game mechanics of the D&D game engine. But now it's the paladin. If you want to be awesome at smiting, you stay paladin 17 and don't worry about multi-classing into full casters. If anything, you'll take 3 levels of sorcerer or cleric or something just to get access to 2nd level spells that are more than what you would actually have access to as a paladin. So we flipped the script on it, and a lot of stuff that we're doing in this game system is flipping that script around, making the classes do what we expect them to do, but now we're doing them in different ways that are more siloed but more inviting. So you could take a paladin 2 and put that with a fighter 18, and that's going to give you access to 5th level spell ranks, but you're still going to be throttled because you dived out of paladin smite. You can only use your 2nd level bonus, so you can only put 1 point of bonus spell into it. Hey, what's up? Paladins should definitely be the ones doing it. Yeah, no kidding, right? So that's not, yeah, there you go. For example, a level 5 paladin can expend up to 2 mana to channel a strike power and gains 1 temporary point of mana when sacrificing a bonus action. If you do both when you hit with a melee weapon attack, you can add 3 power dice to the damage of 1 melee weapon attack during your turn this way, or 4 power dice if the target is undead or a fiend. And every paladin gets the martial strike power as a prepared spell, so that way you don't have to worry about, you automatically get a strike power. All these strike powers that we have in this game do something interesting. Like Provoking Strike is a 3rd ranked power. You can't do this until 9th level. It'll cost you 3 mana every time that you do. Provoking Strike, your weapon deals psychic damage, and increases damage by 1 power die per mana channeled. And for a Paladin at 13th level, we again know that that's going to be up to 6 mana if I expend my bonus action with it. So I could do an extra 6d8 power dice of damage. And then what happens? The kicker effect is the creature must use its actions to attack you or target you with spells and effects until it can no longer see you or you are incapacitated. The creature can end this effect by succeeding an intelligence saving throw at the end of each of its turns. Creatures immune to charm save with advantage. This is your classic MMO style proccing aggro off of enemies. It's expensive to do it. You can't do it until 9th level. It's a third rank spell, so you can do this starting at 9th level. You only have 9 mana at 9th level, so you're gonna have to eat up a lot of action economy to Guido to attack you. But that's what happens. Guido's gonna attack you until you can pass an intelligence save. All these things last 1 minute. All powers in this game last 1 minute unless it says otherwise. So the duration of everything, Guido basically has 10 turns to try to figure his way out of being provoked. Otherwise, the power ends. Unless you hit him with another Provoking Strike and just renew it. So, there you go. So that's what Provoking Strike does. Banishing Strike we looked at earlier. It banishes a creature and they have to save their way back from it. Sweeping Strike, it's for melee weapons only. Your weapon deals 1 power die of additional damage per mana channeled. And up to 2 additional creatures you choose within reach of your weapon attack also take damage equal to the result of the power dice damage roll. So this is kind of like the new Cleave battle mastery that we have, like on the Battle Axe, for instance. It has Cleave, where if you hit with an attack and you use the Cleave mastery, you can then follow through and make another attack against another creature and not add your ability score damage if you hit, but it doesn't cost anything to do it. It's like a cantrip. So what's interesting about this is the Martial Strike, which is a first rank power. It says that when you channel this strike power, your weapon damage increases by 1 power die per mana, and the power die rolled is one size larger than your current die up to a d12. So a 17th level Paladin could crack out d12s instead of d10s, but it doesn't have any kind of kicker effects. Right? Like it doesn't automatically trip somebody, or doesn't blind somebody, or it doesn't steal life from them like Vampiric Touch, or it doesn't poison them. It doesn't hit additional targets. It doesn't provoke them into aggro. It doesn't do any of that stuff. But what it does do, since masteries are like cantrips, you can't cast a cantrip and a mastery at the same time. So if you channel a strike power, you can't use any weapon masteries unless you're using the Martial Strike. The Martial Strike allows you can use 1 combat mastery you have prepared, or that is a property of the weapon that you hit with. And we can prepare masteries as like powers. So like if I wanted to have Cleave as a mastery available for me to use for free anytime I hit with a melee weapon, even a dagger can cleave using this system. Cleave is natural to the Battle Axe, so if a martial character is proficient with a Battle Axe, I can automatically use Cleave with the Battle Axe for free because I'm already proficient in the fucking weapon. And I'm a martial character. I know how to cleave with a weapon that's designed to cleave. But if I prepare Cleave and I use a melee weapon, any melee weapon, I've trained how to cleave. So now with my dagger, I can slice your throat and then slash your friend's throat at the same time. Or if I wanted to pump some mana into it, I could do Sweeping Strike with my blade, with my dagger, and hit 3 targets with the same dagger. What was his name? Worm. Worm from Game of Thrones, when he slit the 2 merchants' throats because one of them bowed, willing to sacrifice his life to Daenerys. Wormling, he slit the throats of the 2 that remained standing in 1 strike. That's a perfect example of a dagger cleave attack. So the Martial Strike lets you use Cleave, lets you use any mastery that you know, but doesn't have any other kicker effect. And most of the masteries require saving throws, or they don't work. They're pretty weak. So they're like cantrip level. So we increase your damage die and your cantrip, so you're dealing even more damage, just raw damage, but you don't get any of the cool magical effects. Instead, you just get to choose a mastery. Hey, what's up? Who gains access to these strikes? Is this this is for all non-full casters? Anyone that uses a warlock, artificer, paladin, ranger, fighter, rogue, monk, barbarian, they can all use these things. That strips away the identity of paladin a lot, right? Which is why we allow the paladin, like a fifth level rogue could put 2 mana into a strike power to deal an extra 2 dice of damage, but a paladin could also expend their bonus action to overclock their maximum limit. So a 5th level paladin can deal 3 dice of damage, one of which is free because of the bonus action that you expended to get access to it. You can automatically do, if you want to, you can always do more damage as a paladin than any other class in the game. That's like the special. That's how paladins remain special as a smite specialist. But anyone can do it. The rogue can sacrifice, like instead of dealing sneak attack, they can do a maximum rank strike. So like a 17th level rogue has 96 damage on a sneak attack. Instead, you could deal 5d10 damage as a strike power. So, like rogues, if they get sneak attack going, they can just smite the fuck out of shit like all the time. Just completely lay waste all the time. So they're really, really good. But again, they can only do that once. But they can save all of their mana to do like ability checks and saves and like perception stuff. Use their mana outside of combat where the rogue is going to need to use that mana. So we give them generous mana supplies during combat so that the rogue becomes a really interesting choice. Like the paladin and the rogue are the 2 best strikers in the game because the rogue can do max strike for free and a paladin can do more than max strike any round that you're willing to expend enough action economy in mana to do so. So that's the differences there. That's what the martial strike power does. So you automatically have a strike power prepared. So you can always use Divine Smite if you want to. And if you do, instead of rolling a d6 at level 1, it would be a d8. So if you expended a point of mana and sacrifice your bonus action, you're going to do 2d8 radiant damage or 3d8 if it's against undead. How does a Paladin Smite spell work now? When you expend a bonus action and cast Divine Smite as a first level spell, it deals 2d8 damage or 3d8 versus undead. So we found a way to do the exact same amount of damage that any class can do from Paladin 2 to Sorkadin 17. We have the exact same clocking damage as all of them. It's all built around how high of a level is your Paladin instead of multi-classing into spellcasting. And we've given you a power that allows you to automatically have as much damage to spell point ratio as the Paladin is expected to have at first level, second level, for the same amount of action economy during your turn if you want to. You could always just expend your bonus action and just get a free point of mana and just do an extra D8 points of damage as a perpetual smite. You just got rid of your bonus action, but you didn't have to expend any mana to do it because the bonus action itself generated the point of mana for your Paladin Smite. So it takes a little while to explain it. It's a little complicated, but it's a really fucking great mechanic. We've play tested the shit out of that, and it works incredibly well. If you understand the system, that's a really big gain. If you don't understand the system yet, then just ask. And I'll explain it to you. Join my Discord server down below. And you're always welcome to ask questions. I'm happy to walk you through it. Level 3, Paladin subclass like normal. Channel Divinity. You can channel Divine Energy to cause different magical effects. All Paladins start with Divine Sense, which is described below. All other Paladin features give additional Channel Divinity effect options. Each time you use Channel Divinity, choose which effect to create. You can use this feature twice. You regain one of its expended uses when you finish a short rest, and you can regain one use by expending 2 points of mana. You regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest, and you gain an additional use when you reach Paladin level 11. If a Channel Divinity effect requires a saving throw, the DC equals your channeling DC. And the Paladin can use Strength, Dexterity, or Charisma. Any one of those for spell casting and for channeling, your choice. Divine Sense. As a bonus action, you can open your awareness to detect celestials, fiends, and undead for the next 10 minutes, or until you have the incapacitated condition. You know the location of any creature of those types within 60 feet of yourself, and you know its creature type. Within the same radius, you also detect the presence of any place or object that has been consecrated or desecrated, as with the Hollow spell. Hey, what's up? Can you expend move actions to gain this temporary mana? I saw reactions and bonus actions. Only the rogue can expend their move action to generate mana. So the rogue can, and you can only do that stuff during combat. So when you can sacrifice or expend action economy to generate mana only in combat, and you can only and that temporary mana can only be spent on exploits, maneuvers, and reactions. If we allow, sorry, that's not right. Strikes, exploits, maneuvers, and reactions. The only thing you can't expend the mana on is sustained powers, because sustained powers last all day. If you want to turn on a sustained power, you're going to have to use your own mana battery. Once a sustained power is turned on, the only way it turns off is if you are incapacitated or it gets dispelled. It can't be countered. It doesn't require concentration. You turn it on and it just stays on until you turn it off. And when you take a short rest, if you're sustaining, like, say, 2 mana worth of sustained powers, when you get your mana back, you don't get those 2 points back because they aren't expended yet. They're tapped because you're sustaining a power. You're still actually using the mana. So the mana becomes tapped. That's also what we use for concentration in the spell casting. You can have as many spells concentrating on equal to the amount of mana that you can tap. So a fifth level warlock can concentrate on up to a 3rd level spell. You can tap up to 3 mana as a 3rd level spell, as 3 first level spells, or as a 1st and a 2nd level spell. But the DC of your concentration increases with each point. So it goes from, if you're concentrating on anything, like a cantrip that you're concentrating on has a concentration of 10. If you're concentrating on 3 mana, the DC to maintain concentration is now 13. And the kicker is, not only do you check concentration when you make take damage, you make a Constitution saving throw, but anytime you make a saving throw, if the result doesn't equal your mana DC or your concentration check, you lose all concentration. So if I'm maintaining a 9th level spell, I have a DC. My concentration check is 19. So if I get hit with a fireball, or somebody tries to trip me with a weapon mastery, and I now have to make a dexterity saving throw DC 13 to avoid being tripped. If I roll a 16, I don't get tripped, but I didn't roll a 19, so now I lose my 9th level or my 9 levels worth of spells. So it has high risk, high reward. It works incredibly well, and it's super fun because your characters now have to think about, what do we need to do? Is it worth concentrating on something right now? Am I going to keep it up and running, or am I just going to lose it right away and just burn 4 mana? Well, maybe like Spirit Guardians, for instance. Do I want to turn on a 4th level Spirit Guardian spell? Because now my DC is 14, and those fucking kobold shamans are flicking Ray of Frosts at me. I have to make 2 dexterity saving throws each round, or have my movement speed halved. Who gives a shit? Well, if I don't roll at least a 14 on that dex save, I just lost my 4 mana Spirit Guardian spell, and now I've wasted the mana. I'm not dealing any damage, and I'm gonna have to spend more mana and more action economy to get up and running again. What can we do to protect our character from getting dinged by fucking goblins flicking rays of frost at me? Well, obviously the answer is provoking strike. So that they'll only attack the tank. See, all these things work together so elegantly. I love it. I'm honestly very proud and very thankful that I'm the guy that gets to build these things. It's so fucking fun. 4th level, we get feats as a paladin like usual. Can you? Yeah. So yeah, the rogue can. Extra attack at 5th level, and again, you can sacrifice any number of attacks to generate mana. Faithful Speed. You always have the Find Steed spell prepared, and you can cast the spell once without expending mana. You regain the ability to do so when you finish a long rest. I'm going to remove that. You always have the... I'm going to remove that. I don't want to give you mana for free. You always have the Find Steed spell prepared. There. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Do I even have that listed? Yeah, Faithful Steed. I like the idea of being able to swap Faithful Steed for find Steed for something else. I haven't found a good way to express that yet. I mean, we already get 10 bonus spells just from being a paladin, so there's not. It's very thematic, but I would like there to be. I'd like there to be a variant of this, like kind of like how the druid has like an order that they can follow, or like the cleric has like you can be a cloistered cleric or you can be a war cleric and either get more cantrips or an armor proficiency or whatever. That comes in like at second level. I like the idea of the Faithful Steed being like I don't know, like Order's Blessing or something like that. And one option is you get the Faithful Steeds, you get the Find Steed spell, but I don't know what a good replacement spell for that would be. I'm actually kind of curious about that offhand. Yeah, I'm actually really curious about that. Let's go to our list of spells, and I think Find Steed is a second level spell, right? Yeah, Find Speed, green. What would be a neat other spell to have access to? What's up? No, I thought I saw some actions down there. Oh man, that might be a cool thing to do. Like when you take your Oath subclass, instead of Find Steed, you could get maybe a different spell. It would just end up being an extra spell. Like you already get 2 bonus spells at 5th level. All of them getting Faithful Speed at 5th level. I don't agree with the flavor for that. I'm not getting rid of it because I don't have a good reason to, other than I don't like it. But that's just me. It's not all about just me. You know, I'm just trying to build a system that works well, so that there's the opportunity for it to be more than about me. So that other people would actually want to use this in a game, especially if they want to run a Magic the Gathering game that runs on mana, right? There we go. Let's see. So Faithful Steed is what it is. Aura of Protection, starting at 6th level. When you or a friendly creature... Is it 6th level? Is that accurate? Yeah. I nerfed this. Starting at 6th level, whenever you or a friendly creature within 10 feet of you must make a saving throw, the creature gains a bonus to the saving throw equal to your max rank of power gained as a paladin. At level 6, you have access to second rank powers or second level spells. It's only a +2 bonus. By 17th level, it's a +5 like you would expect it to be. Honestly, I think people being within range of you getting a blanket bonus on all saving throws, I think a +5, I think a +5 bonus at level 4 is too much. Or if you're a slow developer even at level 8, I think a +5 bonus is too much. I think a +2 bonus to start with and ramp it up to +5. I think that's a lot more. I think that just makes a lot more sense to me. These are all variant rules. You can ignore it if you want to. It's probably the most contested thing I could offer here about the Paladin. But from my years and years of experience of running campaigns from level 1 to 20, I would say this is something that Wizards should have done when they rebuilt the book. It's a big favorite of fans to get OP defense measures, and WOTC doesn't want your character dying because they don't want you to quit playing. So they make things more generous than they need to be. But, I've spoken. Hey, what's up? Right on. Well, I'm glad you agree. I'm great with the range. I'm great with it being just blanket. But also, it's not tied to an ability score anymore. It's just your rank, and it progresses with the campaign. So there you go. Abjure Foes, level 9. As a magic action, you can expend 1 use of your class's channel divinity to target a number of creatures. equal to your channeling ability modifier that you can see within 60 feet of yourself. Each target must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or have the frightened condition for 1 minute or until it takes any damage. While frightened in this way, a target can do only one of the following. It can move, take an action, or a bonus action. So observe foes, nasty channel of divinity effect. Channeling divinity is worth 2 mana. So this is basically a second level spell that's nerfing the hell out of people. Given that, let's look at staggering strike. Let's look at dazing strike. Your weapon can deal psychic. This is a second level spell. It deals damage. It deals an extra 2 dice of damage. And the target must make a Constitution saving throw. If it fails, it loses reactions and can do only 2 of the following: move, action, or bonus action. The creature can attempt to end this effect early by succeeding a Constitution saving throw at the end of each of its turns. So it makes a save, and then it gets to save again to end the effect. Third rank, staggering strike. Make a Constitution saving throw. If it deals extra damage, of course. Constitution saving throw. If it fails, it cannot take reactions and can only do one of the following: move, action, or bonus action. You have to make a Constitution saving throw to end the effect. There you go. Cheers. Powers only go up to 4th rank. That stays in curve with what the Eldritch Knight and Arcane Trickster were getting access to 4th level spells over the course of their career. But this makes it so that we get access to the highest level stuff by level 13. So if you went Paladin 13 or Rogue 13 or Barbarian 13, we're playing say Descent into Avernus from level 1 to 15. By the time you get to 13th level, you've already capped on what the powers are capable of doing, but at 17th level you can upcast it with a 5th level spell slot, or 5 mana instead of 4. But by 13th level we have access to everything in the game, and all of the classes can swap 1 power per long rest, except for the Battle Master. The Battle Master can swap them on short rests, but the majority of people can swap 1 power that they know every time they finish a long rest. So if you're playing an episodic Monster of the Week campaign, where each the Bastion campaign that I'm developing for Spelljammer, for the past few weeks I've been doing Spelljammer stuff on Mondays and Thursday nights and doing martial power stuff on Saturday morning. I just decided to flip things around a little bit. So I'll be doing my Spelljammer game prep on Saturday morning this week. So like and subscribe if you want to tune into that. But that's a Bastion campaign, where it's an episode. Each episode of the adventure is during the course of 1 week. A Bastion turn is 1 week. The world updates and makes changes based on what your Bastions are doing, and creates complications, and events occur, and those events and complications create adventures, and that becomes your adventure of the week. And so you have 1 adventure in the week, and then it's over. So if you pace the game well, you can have it so there's only 1 long rest per Bastion turn, and each day that goes by you have a short rest, and all of the classes in the game calibrate with when you take a short rest you can get mana back. And so all of the classes can have 6 days of short rests, and then long rest is once per week. Or you could even have it that a short rest is still only an hour, but when you sleep at night, you're still only getting a short rest back. So you can pace those any way that you want to. So there you go. So if you take your Bastion turn, you have once a week. Then you can. Why was I talking about that? Right, because it's 1 Bastion turn is technically a week. You could have 7. It says that when you finish a long rest, you can swap 1 ability. If you wanted to, you could have it so that every time you sleep, when you wake up, you can swap an ability. So you could have each day your character can change 1 ability. Or if you're keeping it pacing so that long rest equals 1 day, then they can swap a power every day. I do that with the Paladin, the Sorcerer, the Warlock, Paladin, Ranger, Artificer, all the ones that don't get to swap out their full spell lists whenever they wake up in the day, like the Bard. All the Scion, all of them. I have all of them so that you can swap 1 power every time you finish a long rest. So that you can adapt slowly with the campaign without having to rely on, I'm stuck with this shit spell until I gain another level, and that could be 7 sessions from now. Fuck you. No, it's just whenever you finish a long rest, go ahead and swap 1 of them, and over time, you'll be able to sculpt your spells and and power selection to mold with where the adventure is taking you. And so if you're having like one adventure a week and you're allowing people to swap out a total of 7 powers, every time you have your new episode, you could swap you could swap a whole bunch of your powers, re-kit yourself to be prepared for what the next adventure is going to be. Here's your next adventure. What powers you want? Swap, 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 swap. Cool, let's go. And now kind of like how a wizard can, but a wizard can obviously do all of their spells. Cleric can do all of their spells. Druid can do all of their spells every time they finish a rest. We're just catching up a little bit, reducing that divide. Let's see. That was Observe Foes, right? Aura of Courage. So you and your allies have immunity to the frightened condition while in your aura of protection. If a frightened ally enters the condition, that condition has no effect while in there. No changes there. 14, Restoring Touch. When you use Lay on Hands on a creature, you can also remove one of these following conditions. It's 5 mana for each of them: Blinded, Charmed, Deafened, Frightened, Paralyzed, Stunned, blah. And then you get your epic boon at 19th level. So okay, cool. That's the Paladin chassis. That's how it works now. Those are all the features. So now let's take a look at the Unearthed Arcana. And how are we doing on time over here? It's 8 o'clock. We're doing great. So we can get through the Oathbreaker. And then on Monday we'll do we'll walk through the monk, and maybe I'll do, I don't know, maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do that this Saturday. Maybe I'll skip Spelljammer this week. Who knows? But the next time we stream Martial Powers, it'll either be on Saturday or Monday. I don't know which. But next time we stream, we'll walk through all the changes that we made to a monk, and I love the changes we've made to the monk. I just love them. And then we'll see how the Drunken Master of Intoxication works. But for now, let's get into Paladin. I'm going to pop open a notepad. Thank you. So I can cut paste material. The power potent is so great that it holds the sword power when it's violated. When a paladin betrays the tenets of their oath because of their corruption, pride, or thirst for power, they lose blessings granted by their original oath, but sometimes take on the sinister blessings of the Oathbreaker in its place. Oathbreakers use fear and overwhelming power to achieve their own goals. While many Oathbreakers are beyond redemption, some paladins bend this oath to achieve a great and noble deed to atone for their past evils. At the DM's discretion, a paladin of any level who violates the tenets of their oath can lose the benefits granted by their original subclass and gain the features of the Oathbreaker class instead. Alternatively, a paladin can choose this subclass at level 3 based on the character's backstory of falling from grace. These paladins often share the following tenets: fear is a tool in the hands of the powerful, strive for power at any cost, do what must be done, but never lose sight of your goals. And let's see. I don't think I have the Oathbreaker in here. I think I skipped it because it was a DMG class. But let's see. Maybe I'll surprise myself. Nope, it's not in here. Okay, perfect. So this is a great opportunity. One. Oh no, these are Forsaken Oaths. Thank you. Conquest, Redemption. No, I don't have it. Oath of the Crown, the Watchers. Oh, here it is, Oathbreaker. I did it after all. Cool. Okay, great. Well, we will then compare what I did for the Oathbreaker here and see how it jives with the changes that have been made. Control Undead versus Conjure Undead. We'll look at the Oath spell selection last. That's typically what we do. We typically go through the features first, and then we go through the spell selection available to them to see what powers, because the Paladin is different because the Paladin gets a bunch of spells, but if any of the smite spells are included in their list, we'll replace that with a strike power. But we'll see what crops up. So, level 3. Let's go back to Conjure Undead. Dreadful Aspect, Control Undead, Aura of Hate at 7. What do we have? As an action, you can expend a use of your Channel Divinity feature to target one undead creature that you can see within 30 feet of yourself. The target must make a wisdom saving throw. On a failed save, the target must obey the paladin's commands for the next 24 hours, or until the paladin uses this Channel Divinity option again. An undead whose challenge rating is equal to or greater than the paladin's level is immune to the effect. what did they change it to? Okay, so this can be really powerful, but the drawback is that you have to have undead introduced in the game. The DM controls if there's undead or not. Conjure Undead. As a bonus action, you can expend one use of your Channel Divinity to summon a number of undead equal to half your Charisma modifier, rounded up, minimum of 1 undead summoned. Each undead appears in an unoccupied space that you can see within 30 feet of yourself and is a type of your choice, skeleton or zombie. The undead are under your control for 1 minute, after which they dissolve into ash. Each undead is an ally to you and your allies in combat. The undead shares your initiative count, but it takes its turn immediately after yours. It obeys your verbal commands, no action required by you. If you don't issue any, it takes the dodge action and uses its movement to avoid danger. Okay, I like this better. I think this is a good improvement. It guarantees that you can use the feature. It's not contingent on whether or not the DM decides to introduce undead to you. And it's temporary. It lasts for 1 minute and then it's gone. So, how do we want to change this for mana? First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the name because I do like this better. Conjure Undead. And now we're going to just gank the text, copy paste it, and then modify it using the mana mechanics. And I screwed up. There. Bah! Formatting. Bad. Let's fix this and then dodge action and uses its movement to avoid danger. Okay, we're going to modify this. As a bonus action, you can expend one use of your Channel Divinity, finish your Channel Divinity to summon a number of undead equal to 1 plus the maximum rank of power gained as a Paladin. That's different from your proficiency bonus because it's locked to your Paladin, but 1 plus the maximum rank of power gained is equal to your proficiency bonus. And this, again, this curves up, and so at 17th level, we'll be able to command 6 undead instead of, how did it list it? Half of your charisma bonus. So it would be 1 to 3 versus 2 to 6. I like small squads. I like hordes. I like swarms. I love that shit. I think they're fantastic. I absolutely want to keep that. Each undead appears in an unoccupied space that you can see within 30 feet of you and is a type of your choice, skeleton or zombie. The undead are under your control for 1 minute, after which they dissolve into ash. I'm going to change the order of this. Each undead appears in an unoccupied space you see within 30 feet of you and is a type of your choice. I'm going to hit enter here. I'm going to change the order up. Each undead is an ally to you and your allies. The undead are under your control for 1 minute, after which they dissolve into ash. Unless you... let's see. How do I want to do this? Alternatively, you can the undead are under your control for 1 minute, after which they dissolve into ash. Alternatively, you can expend 1 point of mana for each undead to maintain Alternatively, you can extend the duration by maintaining concentration. How do I want to do this? So Channel Divinity summons a bunch of them. I want you to be able to keep them for more than a minute. Do I want you to be able to keep them more than a minute? Because before it was you spend the thing and you get one. It was one undead all day for 2 mana. That's a pretty sweet deal, assuming that they fail their save, and you can just keep trying again. But you're going to continue burning mana to try. So it was 2 mana per creature for 24 hours in the old control undead. With this conjure undead, it could be up to eventually 6 undead for 1 minute for the cost of only 2 mana. I like the idea of being able to maintain concentration to retain them. But I don't like the idea of having to tap and untap mana and double paying for things with channel. I'm just going to let it go. Yeah, I'm just gonna let it go. I like the idea of it, but it feels clunky, so I'm gonna let it drop. If I wake from a dream and realize a good easy way to do that, I will. But that's too complicated, so I'm gonna let it go. Let's look at a Dreadful Aspect. Dreadful Aspect still exists. Let's see if it's changed. As it reads right now, as an action, you can expend a use of your channel. Wow, 2 Channel Divinity uses. You can expend a use of your Channel Divinity to force any number of creatures within 30 feet of yourself that you can see to make a Wisdom saving throw on a failed save. Target's frightened of you for 1 minute. If a creature frightened by this way ends its turn more than 30 feet away from the Paladin, it can attempt another saving throw. Immediately after you cast Divine Smite. Oh, interesting. You can expend 1 use of your Channel Divinity to channel a burst of Magical Menace. Each creature of your choice in a 30-foot emanation originating from you must succeed on a Wisdom saving throw or have the frightened condition for 1 minute. A frightened creature repeats the save at the end of each of its turns, ending the effect. I love that. I absolutely fucking love that. I think that's great. Absolutely love that change. I really do like a lot of the mechanical changes that they made in 5e24. I think it's good. It's called ludonarrative, when the mechanic of something reflects the flavor, the narrative of something, like itself. Like using a color mana spell point system in a Magic the Gathering D&D game is a strong ludonarrative mechanic. Because that Ludo narrative is, I am a Boros sorcerer. I am only using white and red mana on my character sheet, and all the spells that I have, one way or the other, are either white and or red only. I don't have any blue, black, or green spells because I am Boros. So if I want a green spell, I will make it a white or a red spell before I can cast it. For instance, that's a strong Ludo narrative mechanic, which helps lean into the MTG aspect of this whole mana system. I think Dreadful. I think this is a really good translation of that. So, we'll do it like this. When you use the Paladin's Smite feature, you can immediately expend a use of Channel Divinity. No action. Let's do it like this. as part of when you use the Paladin's fight sphere as there it is, as part of expending your bonus action, you can expend a use of your channel divinity to unleash, because saying channel twice in the same sentence is stupid. You can channel divinity. You can unleash a burst of magical menace. Each creature of your choice in a 30-foot emanation originating from you must succeed a wisdom saving throw or have the frightened condition for 1 minute. A frightened creature repeats the save at the end of each of its turns, ending the effect on itself on a success. Nice. Very nice. I'm very, very happy with that. We have our spells, which we'll skip for now. Aura of Hate. How I have it written currently, you and any creature of your choice within your Aura of Protection gains a bonus to melee weapon attack rolls equal to your channeling ability modifier. Minimum of +1. A creature can benefit from this feature only one paladin. From only one paladin at a time. Got it. When you, as well as any fiend or undead in your Aura of Protection that is an ally, hits a creature with a weapon attack, that attack deals extra necrotic damage equal to... No, we're going to change that. I like that they changed it to being undead to lean into the channeling undead thing. There we go. And I'll grab this. This is just better. It's just better. But I can modify this. We can make it better. We have the technology. We have the know-how. It can be done. When you as well as any fiend or undead in your Aura of Protection. Interesting. That's okay. Because the undead has less action economy than your character's going to have at level 7. Hits a creature with a melee attack. That attack deals extra necrotic damage. What I really want to do is make it deal an extra power die of damage each. And at level 7, it would be a d6 damage each. Which on average is less than the +5 that you would get. Yeah, we're going to make it a power die. When you, as well as a fiend, okay, so... If your charisma bonus at level 7 or level 8 maybe is going to be 20, the bonus is +5. If your power die is a D10 at 17th level, half of D10 is 5. It's 6 or a half dozen. It's 5 or a D10. It's the same difference. So making it a power die at first is actually going to be less. Again, potentially on average less damage, potentially more or less at any given time. But I love adding power dice to stuff. So. Hits a creature with a melee attack. That attack deals an extra power die of necrotic damage. I have ideas. I'm going to hold my tongue for now, though. Let's see what happens at 15. Supernatural resistance. Is that still true? Hey, what's up? Good looking at me working. Thanks. Oh, right on, my man. Hey, well, thanks for hanging out. If you end up catching my stream on Saturday, or if you subscribe and catch up with the other stuff that I do artwork Monday through Friday in the mornings for the books that I publish, and then we do game design on Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. And when I get my next round of playtesting going, it will happen on one of those times, either Monday, probably either Monday or Saturday. I like keeping my Thursdays open for design because occasionally I play Shadow Dark with Wally DM and Fred Wheeler with How to RPG. So I like keeping my Thursdays open, as well as AJ Pickett. But yeah, it'll either be Monday night or Saturday morning, Seattle time. Our next round of playtesting will fire up probably maybe in December. I'm thinking in December. Yeah. So anyway, so we do stuff. So I stream 8 days a week, 8 times per week. So anyway, for those that care, cheers. Supernatural resistance. You gain resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. All right, that's unchanged. Dreadlord. As a bonus action, you can imbue your aura. What does it do currently? As a bonus action, your aura protection emanates an unnatural gloom that lasts for 1 minute. The aura reduces any bright light around the paladin to a dim light. Whenever an enemy that is frightened by the paladin starts its turn in the aura, it takes 4d10 psychic damage. Additionally, the paladin and creature he or she chooses in the aura are draped in deep in shadows. Creatures that rely on sight have disadvantages on attack rolls again because they're blind, basically. While the aura exists, the paladin can use a bonus action on his or her turn to cause the shadows in the aura to attack one creature. The paladin makes a melee spell attack against the target. If the attack hits, the target takes necrotic damage equal to 3d10 plus the paladin's channeling ability modifier. Once you use this bonus action, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest, unless you expend 5 mana to use it again. So what happens here? As a bonus action, you can imbue your aura of protection with Unholy Gloom, granting the benefits below for 10 minutes or until you end them. No action required. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest. You can also restore your use of it by expending a 5 mana. Darkness. Magical darkness fills your aura of protection. You and your allies in your aura of protection can see within the magical darkness. Fear. Whenever a creature with a frightened condition starts its turn in your aura, your creature takes psychic damage. And then Shadow Strike. As a bonus action, you can make a melee spell attack, shaping the gloom exuding from you into a blade that targets one creature in your aura. On a hit, the attack deals necrotic damage equal to 3d10 plus your charisma modifier. Okay, I think that's great. It's better organized, but the feature hasn't really changed that much. But it's better organized. I like that. So we're going to take this under advisement and grab it and just restructure it. Let's get back down to here. Benefits below for 1 minute. Ooh, geez, for 10 minutes. Or until the there. Darkness, fear, Shadow Strike. These are all good. Cutsy pasty. You can also restore your use of it by expending 5 mana. As a bonus action, you can imbue your Hour of Protection with Unholy Gloom, granting the benefits below for 10 minutes or until you end them. No action required. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest. You can also restore your use of it by expending 5 mana. No action required. Darkness. Impersonating me. All I can see. Absolute horror. Fear. Darkness. Magical darkness fills your aura of protection. You and your allies in your aura of protection can see within this magical darkness. I love that. I absolutely fucking love that. What a great ability. Fear. Whenever a creature with a frightened condition starts its turn in your aura of protection, that creature takes... Whenever a creature with a frightened condition starts its turn in your aura of protection, that creature takes 10 psychic damage. Three power dice of psychic damage. I'm nerfing it a little bit. And Shadow Strike, as a bonus action, you can make a melee spell attack, shaping the gloom exuding from you into a blade that targets one creature in your area of protection. On hit, the attack deals necrotic damage. Plus your channeling modifier. We're using 3d10 specifically because with the bonus actions, the bonus action economy. Where'd you go? Powered actions. By 20th level, whenever you sacrifice a bonus action to generate temporary mana, you get 3 mana. So that's why I'm making it, when you're using a bonus action, you're dealing 3 power dice, equal to 3 power dice. On a hit, the attack deals necrotic damage equal to 3 power dice. Plus your channeling ability modifier. Period. That creature takes 3 power dice of psychic damage. All right, and that's well. Oh, and then we have our spell selection. So let's check out our spells versus their spells. Our spells, their spells. Our spells, their spells. Let's look it over. Hellish Rebuke, Witch Bolt, Hellish Rebuke. Huh, Witch Bolt. Okay, I'll give you Witch Bolt. I'm fine with that. Crown of Madness, Darkness. Fear, Summon Undead. Okay. So far, so good. So what? Blight, Phantasmal Killer. I like Phantasmal Killer. Contagion, Steel Wind Strike. Steel Wind Strike's a great spell. Cannot complain about that. Okay, great. These are all good. So using this system, we can... Steel Wind Strike is a normal action to cast. So it's a magic action, which means if we wanted to, we could, at 17th level, when we get access to this, we could sacrifice our bonus action to generate 3 points of mana. We could then sacrifice our reaction to generate a 4th point of mana. And then we can expend 1 point of mana from our mana pool at this level. That'd be 17 mana. That would generate 5 points of mana needed for us to cast Steel Wind Strike. Flurry of Blows. There he goes. That's actually really perfect because the monk has a deconstructed version of Steel and Strike. I'm going to show that to you real quick, and then we're going to end the session because the next session that we have, we're going to go through the Drunken Master of Intoxication and the base class features that have been updated for the Martial Powers Monk. So just to show off real quick specifically, though, at level 5, level 6, we get Whirlwind Attack. So as a magic action, you can attack enemies around you that you can see in a blur of motion. The Whirlwind Attack table below shows how many targets you can attack and how far from you each of those targets can be. Make a separate melee weapon attack against each monk with a monk weapon. Each target hit takes 1 power die of damage for each point of mana expended this way, up to the max channel limit gained. It takes 1 power die of damage for each point of mana expended this way, plus your channeling ability modifier. These attacks cannot use strike powers or weapon masteries. So monk level 6, 10, 14, 18. The number of targets we can select is 2, 3, 4, 5. The range is 15, 20, 25, 30 feet. And for each point of mana that I put into it, I can deal, like at 18th level, I could put 5 mana into it to deal 5d12 plus probably 5 for my dexterity or something like that. So, ironically, the Steelwind Strike spell, check this out. I love this. I'm particularly proud of this. And that is a monk feature I love. So, Steelwind Strike. It's a 5th level spell, so it costs 5 mana to use, right? You flourish the weapon used to casting a spell and vanish to strike like the wind. Choose up to 5 creatures. For a paladin using this or a monk using this at 17th level. Choose up to 5 creatures you can see within range. Make a melee attack against each target. On a hit, target takes 6d10 force damage. You then teleport to an unoccupied space that you can see within 5 feet of one of the targets. So 6d10 force damage has a maximum of 60 damage. A monk uses a d12 power die at 18th level. 5d12, it's still 60. So we can still hit 5 targets, dealing up to 60 damage to each of them. And I only have to spend, if I spend 5 mana, I can do all that. After completing the Whirlwind Attack as a kicker effect, you can expend 1 mana. After completing the Whirlwind Strike attack, you can, I want to get rid of that. You can teleport to an unoccupied space within 5 feet of the target you attacked. Simplify. That is literally a deconstructed version of Steelwind Strike. At 17th-ish level, it's the same. I mean, we have 1 level back. But again, this version of Steelwind Strike is better than what anyone else in the game can do because you're rolling 5d12 instead of, well, it's 6d10 if you're going to cast the spell type spell. But again, I can be casting as early as 6th level. I can deconstruct it. At 18th level, I could target 5 creatures, but only spend 1 point of mana and do d12 plus probably 5, d12 plus 5 damage to 5 creatures within that area. So if you're playing with minion mob mechanics, like I often do, where 1 hit equals 1 kill, then this is a really great crowd sweeper. The monk becomes a superstar because at really high levels, you have to spend very little mana. I could sacrifice. Hold on, how's this thing go? It says a magic action, so you can attack enemies. So it eats my attack action, but I could expend a reaction, for instance, to get this for free. And I could, as long as I'm willing to spend my reaction, I could cast Steelwind Strike with only 1 mana, d12 plus 5 damage, just over like infinitely. So I can just wade through mobs of mobs of minions that only deal 1 point, that can only take 1 point of damage each, right? Just wade through a whole army of them as a monk and just clear them all out. Super fun. Super love that. There's a lot of really fun, cool things that we've done with the monk that's similar to that. So that's what we're going to work on next. The next session is going to be Saturday morning, and that'll either be the Spelljammer Bastion campaign that I'm running in the Orbit of Eberron. It's basically building out the kaiju and mecha that are in the Dwarven Citadel that the characters control as a bastion. Or we'll continue with the monk. I honestly don't know which one I'm going to do. But whichever one I do on Saturday, I'll do the other one on Monday. So if I do Martial Powers on Saturday, I'll do Spelljammer on Monday. If I do Spelljammer on Saturday, I'll do Monks on Monday. Either way, like and subscribe. And then we're doing monster token artwork for the Eberron adventure that I'm publishing. We're doing that Monday through Friday in the morning right now. We're finishing up a Wraith. And I don't know, maybe work on a Shambling Mound or something. Who knows? Whatever the muse wants me to do, that's the artwork that we'll do tomorrow morning. And yeah, that's it for now. So thanks a lot to everybody that's been hanging out and checking out the channel. Love that you're willing to hang out and listen to what I got to say. All these books, all these mechanics and ideas are all linked down below. The books on the DMsGuild, they all have free previews. If you want to encourage this sort of behavior, if you buy the books that I have online right now, you're effectively paying for a free version of Martial Powers when it gets published. And then if you buy Martial Powers, you'll be providing me the money to produce like the Spellpoint Sorcerer book, or the Spellpoint Scion book, or the Book of Demir, or like Alara, like the Power of Alara, or whatever the next one is that we're going to do. But whenever we finish a book, we have another book that we work on. We figure out the mechanics, and then we do the page layouts and the artwork. We do design in the evening. We do artwork in the morning. When a book finishes, we take it off our workbench. Everything else gets pushed forward. We work on the next project. And we've got a whole bunch of projects that we're going to be working on in tandem with each other in 2026. So I really appreciate you guys for checking this stuff out. I love doing game design like this. I love doing artwork. And looking forward to hearing from you all in the future. Cheers.